Hi guys. For being late, we had an internet connection problem again.
Yeah, as usual.
Yeah, so thank you for bearing with us. If you guys are new here, hi, I'm Kat.
Hi everybody, I'm Angelo.
And on this channel, we usually talk about true crime, conspiracies, and all sorts of related things. So, if you are not subscribed, please don't forget to hit the big red subscribe button. And today we will talk again about Orrin and Orson West and a couple of new info we found.
Yes.
Always the information is reaching us later than it should be, but we have some. So let's just wait a bit to see if anyone else is going to join us. How are you?
I'm okay.
Yes. By the way, we are in the UK and it's 12 o'clock at night in the UK.
Yeah.
So, yes. Okay. Ready? Are you ready?
Yeah, I am.
Okay. So, we are starting with. We already know that Orrin and Orson West they went missing around 2 months ago on the 21st of December.
Almost 2 months ago.
Yeah, it's almost 2 months, and there is still nothing. So basically, there's a latest update which we just found the other day.
Yeah.
And it's about Trezell and Jaqueline West. They want to get the two biological kids and the two foster kids back in their care.
That's something odd that is happening anyway.
Yes. So as it turns out, the spokesperson for
Department of Health, Human Services.
Yeah, the Department of Human
from
Services.
Kern County.
Yeah.
Hi, Dre.
Hi, Dre. Thank you so much for joining us. So the spokesperson from the Human Services of Kern County.
Yeah.
She was saying that at the moment the biological children and the foster children are in protective custody, which means they are in a foster home.
Yeah.
But as it seems, they are working with the family, with the adoptive parents, to try and get the kids back.
They have the two biological children and the two adult or foster children.
Yeah, they're foster children.
But two are theirs. So
yeah, two biological.
Yeah, they are in protected custody somehow in a home.
In a foster home.
Foster home. So now the spokesperson was saying in an interview that they work with the West family somehow to give the children back to them, and that a judge will decide, and it will kind of give them 4 months time to kind of prove to the services and to the judge that they can do it and they can get their kids back. So
nothing works right on this computer.
No.
Now, right now, no. So yes. So yeah, I don't know if you guys were aware before this, but it seems that the kids were taken away by social services or the CPS on the allegations of abuse and neglect by Trezell and Jaqueline West, which to me seems as if the police somehow knew or they have proof that there was some kind of an abuse or neglect, if this is the reason why the kids were taken away from them.
Yeah, because Orrin and Orson disappeared from them, isn't it? So there were like 6 in total, but now there's only 4.
Yeah.
But those 4, they will, at a certain time set by the judge, they will go back to the West family.
So the way the process works is that the parents, in this case Trezell and Jaqueline West, are given a court-ordered case plan, which they need to complete. They have a time frame for that.
Yeah, the spokesperson was saying about
Yeah.
4 months.
That's funny saying 4 months because we also found on the California website for adoption, and I
Yeah,
think it was the court system, and it's mentioned there that it's around 6 months, and sometimes it can take even over 1 year. So I don't
yeah.
understand why the 4 months, really.
I don't know, but they offered them 4 months to prove, they are good parents and they can do it and they can get their kids back.
And the funny thing is that the judge is the one who decides what steps they will need to take in order to get the kids back.
Yeah, the parents need to complete in those 4 months given uh, some tasks, which the judge decides what tasks they need to do to kind of complete.
Yeah, and he also says, well, according to the same website we've looked at, it says that it seems, with certain exceptions, the court must offer you services to help you reunify with your child or children, and the social worker assigned to your case will come up with the reunification services with your input. So
Yeah,
that means that they might have a word in the tasks that they are given, as in they can maybe, say, oh, this is not fit for me, or I can't do this, but change it with that, or things like that.
yeah.
So they have some
The
kind of an
the
input in.
yeah. Well, they can come back and say, well, this plan is not really as it should. We come up with this idea, with this thing, and they can probably change somehow.
Yeah,
But the judge is the one who will order to complete the reunification services, and the CPS is accordingly to what the judge says.
yeah,
They need to go, get along with it.
yeah.
Also, the parents have to complete the tasks that the judge is deciding what tasks. We were looking for what kind of task they were talking about, but we couldn't find anything. So
There
that
is
means,
something which can be given,
yeah,
but there's not set to, cases in general. I think it goes on each particular case on an individual basis,
yeah, that's why
really.
I was thinking myself when I was telling you the judge might just give like a custom, package somehow, um, to say, well, you need this, depending on the case, really. But we don't know much what it might be, what it might happen.
I did find some reference points. I'm trying to find them again now.
Yeah, that's during the 6 months, but they were like the spokesperson was talking about 4 months there.
Yeah, and yeah, I did find this. So it may be that they are required either to go to counseling.
Yeah,
Again, it depends on the judge, really. Attend some parent education classes or receive drug treatment and testing services. I think that the testing services would refer to
families like parents who are
like
on
drug users and
alcoholics and
alcohol.
stuff
Yeah,
like.
yeah,
But this is
substance
this is
abuse.
not the case, and I was really wondering how come Orrin and Orson haven't been, for example, uh, the services didn't try at least to reunify them with their biological mom somehow, because this is the way it works, the system. And I've read that the system has to work with the parent, with the biological parent first, in order to reunify them with the, the children, their own children. But it wasn't the case in Orrin Orson's case, and they've been put in foster care. Obviously, whoever judge decided that he was too quick to decide, you know, let's put them in foster care, and then from there we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and then there was another interview with the same spokesperson from the Human Services, and she was the one who actually says that The adoption process is, in fact, a very lengthy process and it can take somewhere between 1 to 2 years. So, if you think about how these boys were adopted, 2018, they were
Yeah,
in foster care to Trezell and Jaqueline West. 2019, they've already been adopted by Trezell and Jaqueline
yeah.
West, which is, you know,
It's a bit
it's
worrying
just,
because it's
it's
too
too quick.
quick.
Yeah, it just happened too quick.
Yeah. Hi Melissa. Hi salty psychic and Dre. Um, Thank you for being here. Yeah. They'll never get any kids back. Well, we don't know that because the spokesperson was talking about pre- preparations somehow to get the kids back to them.
It seems as if for one reason or another, these cases to the CPS or social services, they are just like, bullet points on a piece of paper. We just need to be read and ticked. And it seems that they are just following the process which is on paper, not considering any other circumstances. The way I see it, it screams like cases of other kids who were given back to the parents and then they ended up being dead. Like, for example, Gabriel Fernandez, Nakota Kelly. These are just a few which I'm talking about on my channel, but I'm
Yeah.
quite sure there are so many where the social services they just had to push them back, to the exactly in the danger.
Yes, but their mom wasn't. I mean, by the looks of it, she wasn't in a bad state. Let's say
No, that's why I'm saying
nothing big happened. So in order for the judge to just decide, well, let's put him in foster care
yeah,
first,
yeah,
instead of just trying to accommodate them somehow to get them back to her, because it's, at the end of the story, she's their biological mom and she probably cares about them, but because she had that medical drugs what she was taking,
yeah.
they just said, well, she's a drug addict, just get rid of it. But I don't know.
You see that they put so much emphasis on the reunification process that they are trying to do, and I mean, the idea is a good idea because obviously you don't want the kids to stay in the system, so you want them to go to a loving home. But why wasn't the biological mom given the opportunity for reunification?
Exactly, yeah.
Why are the boys trying to get pushed to the adoptive family instead of going back to the biological family and the
Be-
biological mom?
and that proves that this system somehow messed up this case in I'm talking about Orrin and Orson here.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure it's not the only one. That's
Well,
that's
we
100%
we
sure.
we don't know other cases, but yeah, I suppose there are plenty.
Yeah.
But we talk about Orrin and Orson here,
Yes.
and obviously, I'm really surprised that the system didn't work somehow with the biological mom in order to reunify them, with her. But instead of doing so, they just chucked them in the system, and then they've been pushed somewhere else.
Yes.
It
Uh,
was too quick and it was pretty fast to that happened, and look where they got now. You see.
yes, and then and then we think about the other four siblings, the foster kids and the biological kids. They are potentially being sent back to a place of danger, to a place where Orrin and Orson West went missing from. Nobody knows why they went missing from there. Nobody knows if the parents did something to them. And yet again, you allow other kids to go back. Well, if they will be going back, that's one big
Yeah,
if.
but I don't know why that spokesperson would come up, in an interview saying that they work with the West family so they can get their kids back, all four, two biological and two, fostered. I have no clue. Why would she say that? and she's from Department of the Human Services.
Yeah,
So that means she has a role in this case.
I don't think is right. I don't think. Well, she does have a role in this case. Yeah, she works with the CPS, and like the chief of police was saying in a previous interview that as soon as the children go into the system,
Yeah.
into foster care, or in through CPS, then it's the CPS decision if the kids will be allowed to go back to the adoptive family or not. Which again, to me, doesn't make sense because it's possible the police might know more than they are publicly saying. And if they think that there would be danger, potential danger to the kids to be returned back, they should get involved with the CPS, not just give
Yeah.
exclusivity to the CPS to make a decision.
Yeah, but the police in this case is just kind of washing their own hands and saying, well, it's out of our hands. It's now in CPS's hands, and other organizations such as like the DHS, the Department of Human Service,
Yeah,
whatever it was, and also the judge who decides what package they might get or decides the fate of these kids now.
yeah,
So I think everything comes down to the judge, a judge who might be, I don't know who's that judge, but he might be corrupt. He might be, I don't know, somebody who doesn't really care much about it,
yeah.
and he just wants to finish the
Excuse me.
case, so fast.
It would be really interesting to know if this judge who will make the decision if the other four children are returned to the parents is the same judge who made the decision to put Orrin and Orson West in the care of Jacqueline and Trezell West. I would be really, really interested to know that.
Yeah, but we
If,
don't.
if we would know that, we might be able to tell if it was some kind of a hidden reason for it.
Yeah. Uh, all over the place, sort of. It's all over the place. To be honest, it's not only in the states.
Yeah.
It happens everywhere. But the level is a bit different because obviously in other countries, being smaller, you don't really pay too much attention. But in states, being so big, how many states are there, different laws, different rules, and so many things happening around the US. Everybody talks about the US cases in general. That's the point. But it happens everywhere, and everywhere is corruption at a certain point. You can't really fight it. You can't really, control that.
And it
Um,
it also seems that there is the reward was increased for Orrin and Orson West from $120,000 to $122,000, and this is according to a new billboard, digital billboard, which was installed on Highway 99 and 65, I believe, in Cal City.
yeah, well, the thing is, they started at 30,000, and now they raised it to
Yeah,
120,000.
and it seems that this
And
reward.
just now, it came up this billboard, and they were talking about another billboard which will be placed somewhere else. Nobody knows where, but they raised it to $122,000 now. The reward for whoever find comes with the right details. Where are the boys?
It seems that this reward money were raised by the extended family, adoptive family of Orrin and Orson West. I'm not talking about the parents and the grandparents. I'm talking about the extended family, like uncles and things
Yeah,
like that. Because I've seen another interview with the adoptive uncle, and he was very upset that people think if, for example, Trezell and Jaqueline West had something to do with the boys going missing, that means that their whole entire family is involved in it. And it's not always the case. And people are attacking everybody in this family, although it might not be that everybody knows. what
Yeah,
happened.
yeah, true. I mean, you can't put everybody in the same pot as we usually do. Like, majority of people do that. Like, oh, if one person is like that, that means the whole family is like that. No, it's not true because every person per se, let's say, is different in a way or other. But yeah, it's true what the uncle said. You can't literally blame everybody, the whole family and extended family, for what happened, you know, in Trezell's and Jacqueline's family because there were two adults having six kids in their care.
Yeah,
Obviously, they had their own responsibility there. You can't really put the responsibility on the extended family because obviously they weren't there, they weren't present there, they wouldn't know what happened, you know. So, yeah, I mean, they have their own right to say that. But other than that, I only go towards Trezell and Jacqueline because that's the main thing. They were there, they had the responsibility to take care of the kids, and look, they disappeared. And not even now, nobody knows about them. So I'm just upset to know and to come to this point to understand that that spokesperson would say such things to say, well, we work with the West family now,
yeah,
so the kids can go back.
yeah.
I
Why would
mean, why
you?
would you do that?
Yeah,
That means it's something fishy there, isn't it?
to me it seems like it's something fishy, really, because I think it is too soon for them to be sending the kids back to their family, to Trezell and Jacqueline West, when we still don't know what happened with the boys. For all we know, they could have been killed by either one of them. I'm not accusing anyone, so please don't sue me. I'm just saying, for all we know, nobody knows anything. So for them to be so confident in saying that, okay, they can go back if the parents will follow these steps, is seriously like taking a test in school and being scored for it. And then you pass the
Yeah.
exam.
I mean, it's like, oh, you didn't pass it now. Let's just
Yeah,
try again,
let's give
and
you
and I'll
six
give you
more
some
months.
tips as well, so you
Yeah,
can just
yeah.
pass it straight away.
It's just ridiculous. I don't know
It
whoever comes
is.
up with these rules, but it's like they go against each other. All these
Well,
rules,
let's say the two biological kids is theirs.
but
Maybe
still,
it's a bit different there, but the other two that are fostered by the West family, I wouldn't go so far to put them back in their, in their care because not even their own biological kids, I wouldn't do that because, to be honest, I would be scared for their safety
yeah,
as a ser- the service that needs to take care of the kids and put them in the right place for their own safety. I have to be there to fight and find the right place where to place them, not really go back to the roots where it happened what happened, and then, oh, that's fine, let's just put them back.
yeah. And say, for example, okay, they follow all the steps, they
Yeah.
complete all the tasks. The judge, okay, agrees for them to go back to Trezell and Jacqueline West, and then after a while, we find out what happened with Orrin and Orson West. And maybe after a while, we find out that they died because of extensive injuries, because of being abused at home. Example. Yeah.
Mm.
Then what happens? Those kids went back to the parents. Then those kids are taken again from the adoptive parents
Yeah,
and the biological parents in this case. So they are,
kind of like played.
yeah, like play,
Like
like,
you play a sort of like you play sort of snooker or you know
yeah.
pool.
And who suffers the most? The kids.
Obviously, the kids because they will be traumatized by
Yeah,
all the moves
yeah,
from there to there,
yeah.
and they wouldn't have any idea, any clue what was going on and where would they be next, and they would be like literally in a bad situation, you
Yeah.
know.
And also now we need to think about the financial side of fostering and adopting. I came across some information about the financial side of this, and as it turns out, when you foster or adopt, sometimes you can even do it for free. Other times, you might be able to, you might need to pay a fee like $500, let's say, if it's from a public agency, like, by government, not private. But in those cases where you do have to pay a fee, it can be waived in different circumstances. Like, say, for example, you can't afford it. So,
Yeah.
social services really want those kids to go
To somebody.
to
Yeah.
somebody, so they will just waive the fee. On top of that, for a child, adopted or foster child, as far as I am aware, you would get about around $1,000 for one child. If that child has any sort of special needs, on top of the $1,000, you would get around $3,000 more. So that would be a total of around $4,000 per child. Now, think about the Trezell and Jaqueline West family. They have or had, when they had Orrin and Orson, four adoptive and foster kids. That's minimum $4,000 per month if you don't think about any special needs requirements,
Yeah.
or payment.
Yeah.
So basically, the more kids you adopt or you foster, the more money you make. So,
Yeah.
which equals to those kids being an income.
Yeah.
Definitely, that those are money making machines, so to speak. They will make money. They will give you income, and they, in that case, that was the only income they had. So the question is, if they did something to the kids, to Orien and Orson, why would you do something to damage your only source of income?
Hmm.
Unless, of course, you go from a lower income to a higher income.
Mhm.
And here comes into play, I say it again, I've said it before, trafficking, a trafficking ring. But don't think about, taking a kid and trafficking the kid for sexual purposes, or human trafficking as such, like we see in a lot of cases. So before I carry on, I will give you some really, really, not some really, how can I say, disturbing information. So I was thinking about, I, 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 I don't even like saying it, but we have to think about this possibility as well. Organ harvesting, okay? So trafficking for organs.
Well, yeah. I was literally thinking about that at the beginning, sort of, because we had so many cases talking about, and I kind of improved my ideas and my
Yeah,
thinking.
yeah,
Obviously, you must think at any kind of possibilities there.
yes,
You've got some options to put on the table and balance it somehow. And this organ harvesting thing was one of the options, but I didn't want to come up with it yet up to the point where we don't get any kind of updates about them. But lately we didn't get any kind of updates other than the billboard and the spokesperson which
yeah,
was talking
yeah.
about the other kids going back to West family and stuff like that, but nothing about Orrin and Orson. And that was a bit worrying because at the end of the story is about Orrin and Orson here, not about other kids. I don't want to be blunt, not taking consideration the other kids as well, but the Orrin and Orson disappeared in this case,
Yes,
not the other kids. So I was literally thinking maybe there is a bit like different circle here. It's not about trafficking for different purposes, such as like we usually think and are led to think, and give that information forward to other people, such as like, human trafficking
for
for
sexual
sexual purposes
purposes.
and other things. So in order to, they get some money and stuff like that, whoever traffics
Yeah.
them. But in this case, and this is more plausible from my point of view, it's organ, like organ harvesting. Just think about liver, kidneys, lungs. Being kids, those organs are in good state. And big people, rich people, might pay a good amount of money for such things.
Yes, I
You
think
know.
that in this situation, particularly in this situation, if we think about the income and to answer the question of why would they do something to hurt their only source of income on purpose, I think that from the low source of income, like I just mentioned, how much they were getting for fostering and adopting, to the other source of income, which would be the organ trafficking,
Yeah.
yeah, the organ harvesting, which I'm just gonna give you in a few seconds some figures, approximate figures of how these organs sell on the black market, and I'll just find that info. And by the way, there is a more in-depth video on the organ harvesting on Nor Jasmine's YouTube channel. So I left a link in the description below if you want to check it out. She also found some videos and some other people who had relatives and family who passed away, and they found out that the children who passed away were being buried without their organs. And the parents of these children, they didn't know that those kids didn't have any organs until they found out about the autopsy reports. So this thing is real and it's happening, and there are so many people involved, including, is it the pathologist who performs autopsies?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it, there's doctors and
Yeah,
doctors,
so this goes from the autopsy room. It starts there. That's the first point of harvesting, really. Well,
Yeah,
in it depends if this is really on a case by case basis, but also you see like grown men or grown women who go through the autopsy room who passed away for a reason or another, and the organs are being harvested. And there are cases where they even stuff the body with toilet paper, and they just don't have the organs. It's very disturbing anyway. It's really, really disturbing, but it's real and it's happening. So I just want to go to the page I opened to give you some details on the organs for how much they go for, approximately. I can't show you because I am on the YouTube live stream, so it doesn't really have anything extra where I can show photos. But a lung would go between $150,000 to $170,000. The liver the liver would be around $150,000. Then you've got the cornea, which is around $30,000. The heart would go between $130,000 to $160,000. The kidney would go around 62,000, and the pancreas would go between 98,000 and 130,000. Any one of these organs compared to 1,000 or 4,000, which you would get for a kid when you foster or when you adopt, is nothing. Is nothing. So this is the only reason why I would see them to get rid of that income. Like when you change a job, is not a good comparison, obviously, but I think it's the best you can give in this kind of situation for the financial side of it. So you go from a lower paid job to a higher paid job, obviously. You don't leave a lower paid job to go to another lower paid job.
yeah,
In this situation, you don't get rid of the only source of income unless you found a very high source of
something
income.
better. Yeah,
Yes, yes.
yeah. I mean, that's that's what is plausible from my point of view and from yours as well, isn't it?
Yes, yes, because um,
I need to
it's
go.
yeah, okay.
Sorry.
It's almost impossible to believe that both of Orrin and Orson West had an accident where they both passed away. So to me, it seems that it's either some sort of an accident, which I don't really see the possibility of the same thing happening to both of them at the same time, hence the cover up, or the other possibility, which very well could be the organ harvesting, which they both can get, you know, sold for that. And it's very sad, and it feels like you're not talking about human beings, but these things happen. And it seems that in China, for example, there is a huge black market of organ harvesting, I mean organ selling, and there is all over the world, really. The truth is that you have all these wealthy people, these elite people, who have children who are sick, and they would pay anything to make those kids feel better again. That's why organ selling, organ harvesting it's a really, really good business. Unfortunately, I see this happening most of the times only to children of color, like black children. And I have my suspicion as to why this is happening, because as untrue as I would like it to be, it is very true that black children, they are not as cared for, in the sense that if a black child passes away, or you not passes away but disappears, there won't be a lot of attention to him as it would be to a white child. I'm not trying to bring the color card here, but sadly, in this particular situation and in this particular organ harvesting, most of the children and even adults who have their organs removed for selling, they are they are black. They are black. And I think that that's why they are choosing black children in general, because they are overlooked. Then we also have another thing, which we know the FBI got involved and in Orrin and Orson West disappearance. And this is very surprising that they got so much publicity as they did. I'm pretty sure no one expected that, but I'm really, really happy that they are getting as much coverage as they are. But I don't think that in a case like a missing child's case or a missing person's case, FBI would get involved so quick, unless they knew that something else is going on there. And we know already that they've arrested some people in relation to a trafficking ring in Bakersfield. And I believe the reason why they went public with that was to scare off people who might be involved. And I think that they had some kind of a lead in the direction of Orrin and Orson West, and that's why they became involved from the beginning. They did say trafficking ring, I know that, but you never know. Maybe FBI knows more than they are publicly saying. So in my eyes, I think that this would be the most viable option, the organ harvesting. It's very sad. It really is. I want to jump on the comments for a moment. Stranger with Science is saying there used to be a video on YouTube that showed police in China being busting an apartment full of dead bodies that were harvested. Blew my mind. I thought organ harvesting was not real before. Honestly, until today, a few hours before I made this live, I didn't want to think that organ harvesting is real. I thought that I'm just seeing it in movies, movies, fiction, whatever you want to call it. But sadly, is as real as it can be. You only need to think about the elite people. Just like you see in the movies. Sometimes, although a movie is a movie and it's exaggerated and it sounds and looks fictional, the base idea came from somewhere. It's just like, for example, my latest video, which I uploaded on my channel, it's about the Hello Kitty murder. It's a real case, the Hello Kitty murder, and Bones, the series Bones, was inspired, one of the episodes was inspired precisely from this murder. So there are a lot of movies out there who are inspired, which are inspired by real life events. And organ harvesting, it's very much real. It is. There will always be people in this world who will have enough money for everything they want, and there will always be people in this world who would do anything to get as much money as they can from whatever they have. So if indeed Trezell and Jaqueline West saw these children as money making, as a business if you like, they would probably consider, at least Trezell in my opinion, he would probably consider this as well. The reason why I'm saying this is that it seems that he was really into conspiracy theories, okay? Especially the Pizzagate conspiracy theory. He was talking a lot about this Pizzagate conspiracy theory, and we know what Pizzagate is all about. It's about trafficking of children, pedophilia, and things like that. So thinking about him that he was into conspiracy theories is not very far-fetched to think and to say that it's possible that he got some kind of ideas from there. He probably found out about organ harvesting. He probably found out about all these prices and how much money you can make. And if it's not your biological child, maybe it's different. And if you didn't take these children just to give them love and the care and affection, and you only took them for money, then you won't see them as your children, really. So anything is possible. A stranger with science is saying another reason people are trafficked is for murder parties. Again, I've never read about any sort of cases like this. So that can be one reason, yeah. Although I do know that there are some videos being made with real murders, and then the videos are being sold online on the black market again. There's some really twisted people out there, if you ask me. In my opinion, if it really is if it really is true that Orrin and Orson were used for organ harvesting, honestly, I don't think they will ever be found. And again, those kids might go back to their parents, to their adoptive parents, without never finding out what happened with Orrin and Orson West. I don't think that they are alive anymore. I think that they are long gone, unfortunately. And yeah, it's very sad. It's very sad. The truth is that if their bodies would be found, then people would definitely notice that they have organs missing. So a lot of people don't want that to happen if indeed there are a lot of people involved in this, which I really think there would be. It's again like my theory with the trafficking ring, but I was thinking about the theory for a different reason. But it's basically the same system, so there won't be only one person involved in this. No, you need to have more people involved in a trafficking ring like this. So what do you guys think about the organ harvesting? Do you think that this can be one possibility as to what happened with Orrin and Orson West? Because it seems to me that everything was rushed from the beginning with these boys and their adoption, and they have been fostered with another foster mom. Guys in the chat, please be nice to each other. No arguing, please. So do you think that the FBI got involved because they have a suspicion as to what was happening, what happened with the boys? Do you think that the reason why they were doing this move with the trafficking ring, precisely while the investigation with Orrin and Orson West is ongoing, was to sort of scare off other people, or maybe to just show them that they have more info and that they are on them? Spivey, I said it's my opinion and my view. I am not spreading false information. I said it. I also have it in my description. Everything I speak about in my videos is merely my opinion. So you can't really be accusing me that I'm spreading false information. Hi, Robert. Thank you for joining. Hi, Kat. Did you see they finally put up billboards for the boys? Better late than never. Yes, I have seen, and I've also seen that the reward was increased to $122,000. I'm really, really happy about that, and I've also read that they will be putting up more billboards. So I'm so happy that these boys are getting so much attention. Hi, Carolina. Thank you for joining. Hi, how much longer a lab test gonna take? If they come up empty of clues, they would at least say so, right? I would agree with you. Unfortunately, in this case, I have no idea what's happening. We are not getting any information. It's either that they have more and they are not telling us so that it doesn't damage their investigation, or if they have any suspects, they are not saying it. So, it doesn't scare the suspects off, or they are just trying to make it go away. I have no idea, but it's very frustrating that they are not coming publicly. And in this way, people are going to make up their own ideas about what is happening, because no one is saying exactly what's happening or what info they have. Stranger with Science is saying with Corona labs are taking over a year, took over a year for Tammy Daybell. Wow, that's a long time. over a year. So do you know the results of Tammy Daybell's lab tests? It wasn't a natural death, was it? Well, the thing is, hi, Maciel. Hi, thank you so much for joining. That's fine. Don't worry about it. It's fine. I was late to begin with this live because I had again internet issues, so they won't release. Hmm. I don't think that those two, Chad and Lori, they will ever be charged with murdering of the children. No, I don't think so. I think they were too clever to actually get physically involved in it. So if they are not announcing, it's quite possible that they have more incriminatory results, really. Maciel, I'm still having problems, and I spoke with my provider, and they said they are working on it. Yet this keeps happening that I actually had to, before going now live, I had to disconnect my Wi-Fi connection from my broadband and make a hotspot with my phone. So I'm using my mobile data to connect through hotspot on the computer because otherwise the internet just didn't connect. Yeah, I was only just, talking about, yeah, Chad and Lori Velo, but it was just because Stranger was mentioning them. So Maciel, you came late. If you want to catch up, I can give you quickly the details of what I was talking about. So basically, it's just that the biological kids and the foster kids are in protective custody. This was confirmed by a spokesperson for DHS. And they said that they are in a foster home, but they are working with the West family to get the kids back to Trezell and Jaqueline West. So it turns out that in around 4 months or so, more or less, the kids might be going back to Trezell and Jaqueline West. The other four kids, although we don't know what's happening with Orrin and Orson, we don't know what happened with them, if they. So to me, the fact that CPS and DHS are deciding that the kids would be safe to go back to Trezell and Jacqueline without knowing exactly what happened with Orrin and Orson is just ridiculous in my opinion, really. And it seems that they will have some tasks that they need to complete. So they will be the social services along with the judge and the court. They will come up with a plan. There are some tasks that the parents need to follow, and then they might be able to get the kids back. Honestly, Maciel, I'm also scared about the kids, and I'm very worried about the kids because I cannot see how someone or an institution who is supposed to protect children, they are highlighting so much that they should be going back to their adoptive parents, that they are not thinking and deciding to wait until we know what happened with Orrin and Orson. Stranger with Science is saying, why are the West living at their parents? It can't be because they don't want to be harassed. Seems to hint at some form of guilt towards the house, avoidance. Yes, you might be right, and I also think that they're probably scared. They are scared that the house in Cal City was already attacked, so they were throwing stuff through the windows. It had to be boarded up. I think that they are scared. Maybe they are also hiding. But although I do think that they did have a good Valentine's Day with the sex shop shopping, so yeah. Now Valentine's Day is gone, and now they are thinking to get the kids back. It's ridiculous. Marcia, yes, I completely agree with you. I completely agree with you. And it's oh, I don't even know what to say anymore because It's just I can't, I can't believe it. And this screams of so many other situations and cases where CPS decided that the kids should go back to their parents and they sent them to their death. Literally, they were sent to their death because of CPS. And still, no one is learning their lesson. It seems that no one is learning a lesson. No. So, apart from that plan that they have to go through, it seems that on an individual basis, the judge is deciding what exactly are the tasks that they will have to go through. But as a general example, it would be something like I'm going to go back to the document I had open here. Something like going to counseling, attend parent education classes, or receive drug treatment and testing services. Testing services, I assume, would be for substance abuse, or if they are alcoholics, if they have drugs in their systems. To me, this sounds completely rubbish, and this is in no way showing protection for children in general, because when you know that you have to complete a plan to get those kids back, then you will do everything you can to make sure that you will be able to fill that plan so you get the kids back. But then after you got them back, God knows what will happen. Robert is saying, I think the house in Cal City is more isolated and they would be more vulnerable there. Yes, I completely agree. We've seen the footages, we've seen drone footage, we've seen the satellite photos, we've seen so many clips of that house in Cal City is basically in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of nowhere, which is why it's very suspicious to begin with. Where could have those boys go missing? Where could they have vanished in a matter of a couple of minutes, or let's say 1 hour or 2 hours? Where? It was deserted. It's a desert. So I don't buy the story that Trezell and Jaqueline are saying at all. Maciel, I find it very suspicious as well, especially because in a different interview, the same spokesperson for DHS said that usually in cases of fostering or adoption, the process takes between 1 to 2 years. Sometimes it can even take longer. Trezell and Jaqueline got Orrin and Orson much quicker than that. Also, when you are adopting a child, you need to prove that you can support yourself and your family. In their situation, they had to prove that they could support themselves financially and their other two biological children. Where was the income? Where was the income? Because Trezell, say for example, he sold beets and he said that he made $10,000 a year. But then again, there's no paper trail to that. There was no business where he declared any income. Then Jaqueline, what did she do, to prove the income? The income, the main income and the biggest income was the kids, the foster kids and the adoptive kids, and the adopted kids, Orrin and Orson West, and the other two. I've covered a bit earlier in this live the income that they took, so the financial side of it. Robert is asking, did they ever find out if Jaqueline's mom worked for child services? I didn't find that information. I've also heard about it, but I'm not quite sure. Although, to be honest, guys, Maciel, if you just came in the live, I was covering some really disturbing things a bit earlier in this live, and I'll go back to it because now I have more of you watching, so I want to know your opinions. What do you guys believe of organ harvesting? Honestly, look, I know it's very hard to believe, but these things are real and they are happening. And Orrin and Orson West, we do know already that they were a source of income. And if the only reason why they adopt and they foster kids is for money, then they would look at the kids as money making, right? I'm thinking, what if these boys, they were part of a trafficking, not part, they, there was a trafficking ring, but not the sexual kind of trafficking ring, but the organ harvesting trafficking. It's a big market. It's a really, really big market out there. And like I mentioned previously, compared to how much money you make when you adopt a child, so it's around $1,000 a month for an adopted child. If that adopted child has special needs, then it's around 4,000 altogether per month per child. That's how much you take. But if you would be selling organs for harvesting, right? I'll give you some prices here because I have more of you with me. I know it sounds really, really bad, but for example, a heart can be sold between $130,000 to $160,000. This is just one example. And there were cases and real cases when organs were harvested and sold. And there is a very big market, especially in China, black market where these organs are being sold, but also, all over the world. And the most likely donors, so to speak, would be black children and black people in general. And I suppose the reason could be because they are usually overlooked. So they don't raise as many suspicions as would other nationalities or, kidney also, of course. Yes, kidney. I can give you a price for that as well. Between 60, it's around $62,000. And I think that this organ harvesting, it would work about the same way like if you would think about human trafficking. So it is a circle, a really big circle. There will be a lot of people involved because you do need a lot of connections to have a lot of connections. But if you think about it, for one child, for one organ sold on the black market in comparison to how much they get for those kids when they foster and adopt, it's a huge difference. And if they look at these kids only for money, then, like I said previously in the live, you go from the lower income and you look for the higher income, and this is the highest you can get. Honestly, it is the highest. And we know that people are buying organs, and they will always be buying organs. You have the very wealthy people, you have the elite, who say the wealthy people have children who are sick, they need an organ transplant or something like that. They would pay anything to get those kids healthy again. And honestly, as sad as it is happening. Carolina is saying, would the two be taken together if that was the case? I have no idea. Excuse me. Honestly, I have no idea, Carolina, either. But to me, this is more plausible than, say, for example, that they had an accident. Because, okay, one has an accident, but two having an accident at the same time. Or why would you, say, for example, why would you kill them? Why would you kill your only source of income? Let's say, unless you have a bigger income to think about. Robert is saying, no, I don't know about organ harvesting. I know it exists, but I thought sex trade, but you may be right. Well, usually, yeah, well, usually you do think about the sex trade, but most of the times, they're usually girls and women who are trafficked for sexual purposes. Yes, we do have boys and men, but most of the times are girls. And in organ harvesting, most of the times are black children, girls, boys, men, women, but they are usually this, yeah. this thing, because I believe that yeah, they are not as noticed as another, as say for example a white kid would be noticed. Marcial is saying this is really sad if they are done or trafficking. Yes, it is very sad indeed, and yes, it's horrible to think about it, and it's horrible to think that some human beings, they can do this to a child. I don't know, it's unthinkable really. I'm thinking that this might be the reason why the FBI arrested those people when they did, whilst the investigation of Orrin and Orson West was still ongoing. It's possible that they did that to show that they have more information, because otherwise I'm really struggling to understand why would the FBI get involved in a missing children's case unless they had already some information. Robert is saying, I support law enforcement, but we all know there are a few bad, corrupt few in every profession. I completely agree with you, Robert. I do support law enforcement as well, but you will find the one which is corrupt, of course. And when a lot of money are at stake, then you know what they say, everybody has a price. You just need to be offered the right price to accept it. So, GS, hi, thank you for joining. That's okay, GS. I had to start late. Internet issues again. So yeah, I haven't seen you in my last live. My husband will probably be getting back in the live, but Caleb woke up, so he went to check on him. You see, either way, Robert, even if you do have a trafficking ring for, let's say, for the sex trade, you would still need to have a lot of connections. In this case, you would need to have a lot of connections as well. And there are some videos out there about the organ harvesting of moms who lost their children, daughters in particular, and they were quite young. One of them, I remember, she was 7, and when she had an autopsy done, they removed all her organs. So all the organs which mattered for the harvesting, for selling of the organs, and she didn't find out that her daughter had organs missing until she read the autopsy report. They wouldn't let her see the autopsy report, but in the end, she managed to get hold of it. And when she saw the autopsy report, all the organs which are currently going on the black market were being harvested from her. And there were notes in the autopsy that they should conserve all these organs to make sure that they will be able to harvest them. So we have the brain matter, we have a lung, liver, pancreas, cornea, heart, kidney, all these are being harvested and sold on the black market. Maciel is saying, I pray they are alive, but I don't like how it's going on with baby Z. Been already almost 2 months. Yeah, that's what we said as well. Yes, it's been almost 2 months. And honestly, it doesn't, there's no update. Nothing seems to be happening. No, they are not getting closer to finding out what happened with them or to finding them or nothing really. GS is saying organs are cheaper and easier in third world countries. Not a lot of demand for little kid parts. They want older lovers, etc. I am not sure. I didn't go into so much depth in researching about the organ harvesting. It was something I came across on Nor Jasmine's channel, and I also linked it in the description below. She has more info on the organ harvesting, but it seems like a plausible option. I know that there is a huge black market in China on organ harvesting, I mean selling, but it is really usually all over the world. It's not only in China. They want all the liver. But why would they want all the liver? It's, children, most of the times their organs are the best, really, if you think about it. They would be the healthiest for donation. No, they don't fit in grown-ups. Yes, I know. I was talking about organ harvesting from children to fit in children. Like, say, for example, you have these wealthy people who they would pay anything if their child is sick to get an organ replacement, really. But I think that organ harvesting is happening from children, from grown-ups. It's not only from children. Yes, Marcia, they do that. Brain, heart, kidney, even brain matter, lungs, cornea, eyes. Those girls, where their moms found out about their organs missing, they even had their eyes removed. So, you know, it's very disturbing to talk about it. It's very disturbing to think about it. But the problem is that it's happening. Yeah, there's organ harvesting done on grown people as well, on grown men, women. Yeah, it's not only on children. I would really, really love to find out that Orrin and Orson West are alive and everything I'm saying is crazy. Robert is saying, I don't mean to be disrespectful, but some areas around there look very shady. If someone has a tip or info, they probably are afraid of gang retaliation. That can be the case as well, of course, yes. I disagree, and from what I've seen in Bakersfield, there are some shady areas. But I mean, there are shady areas everywhere, really. But yeah, in this case, Bakersfield, yeah. Yes, but as far as motive goes, why those kids? There are millions of street kids easy to steal all over the world. Honestly, I don't have any idea. The only thing I can think about is for financial reasons. I mean, yes, they did make money from fostering and adopting, but the trafficking, the organ harvesting money, they are much more than what they would get for adopting. It can also be the situation that only one of them did something and the other one doesn't know. Say, for example, Trezell or Jaqueline. You never know. I mean, we are always trying to think about so many various things, and this is mostly happening because we don't have any information to go from. So, GS is saying, just trying to figure it out. I'm saying it all with a smile on my face, not being rude or aggressive. I didn't say you are rude or aggressive. That's I'm also trying to figure it out honestly. Just a bit earlier today, I was watching a video on YouTube about organ harvesting, and I said I want to talk about it because it's a real possibility. So I thought I should mention it as well. That this might not be the case. I would really hope that this is not the case. But then there's also the other thing that it couldn't have been an accident either because, okay, you have one, okay, is an accident, but two, having an accident both at the same time, it's very strange. One thing is sure, I don't think they were ever in Car City. I don't think they were there. GS is saying, personally, I think it's solved via cell pings and surveillance, and they're just building the case. I do think, on one hand, that they do have a reason why they keep going back to the Cal City's house and even scanning the ground. And I think that they already served around 5 search warrants. So there must be a reason why they keep going back there. And like you say, it is possible that they already know. Excuse me. It's possible they already know what happened, but the police, I mean, but they are not revealing anything. They are, like you said, building the case. Maciel is saying, you think they planned the whole thing? Because I do. On one hand, I do think that they planned the whole thing. On the other hand, I would like to believe that they didn't, and that it was I don't know. I don't even know what to believe anymore. There is also something else I'm thinking about, that we might never find out what happened with them, and they might never be found. It's taking too long. And then to think about it, that the other 4 kids, there is a possibility that they will go back to the adoptive parents without finding out what happened with Orrin and Orson. They might be put in danger, and the fact that the police is not getting involved in with social services to stop them from trying to get the kids back to Trezell and Jaqueline, again, it's another thing which I just don't understand. Marcel is saying, this hurts me because I'm mother and granddaughter. This is upsetting. I am also mother, and this really, really hurts me as well. Robert is saying it's very hard to prove without bodies. Yes, it's very hard. And if we take the scenario of organ harvesting, I don't think that the bodies would ever be found, because then it would be too obvious that the organs are missing. On one hand, if you think about it, you think that Trezell and Jacqueline, they are not smart enough to pull this off. But on the other hand, you can also think about the fact that what if they are part of a trafficking ring, and they're not the only ones planning everything out. So again, there are so many possibilities here. The truth is that we can only speculate. Yes, nobody's no evidence, yes. And it works just like that, innocent until proven guilty. So if there's nothing to prove them guilty of, then they can be guilty in our eyes, but they'll never be charged. GS is saying, I have heard others talk about underground adoption, rehoming. I can see that as possible here. But then why would they do that? What would be the reason? There was at one point I was thinking about the bio mom and the adoptive parent. That what if they had some sort of an agreement that we already know that the bio mom really wanted the kids back. So what if they had an agreement with each other that she can have the kids back as long as they keep getting the payment for them? So maybe she got involved in the search of Orrin and Orson, and maybe she will come up with the boys, and then she'll say that she found them. I mean, I don't know. So, how about your idea about the underground adoption rehoming? Why would they adopt them? I mean, give them to someone else? Because we all know that at some point, at one point or another, being adopted, they would have a visit, so they would have to be seen. So I don't know. I think that that's a possibility as to why they called them as missing. I mean, why they called the police saying they are missing when they did. Robert is saying unless there is a miracle witness to be found or a tape, but a professional ring would not fall for that, I guess. Yes, that's true as well. GS is saying money, they are too rambunctious. Yes, I can never get that word out of my head, rambunctious. That rambunctious, you say about someone being rambunctious as if you are being angry at their behavior. That's hardly a word you should use when you have your first press conference about your children going missing, in my opinion. A very odd choice of words, really. Very odd. And then he was so angry at himself for saying that. That's why he was clearing his throat. Because he realized the word he got out of his mouth. He was angry, but there was nothing he could have done after. They are going to be rambunctious. Do you guys have any information which I didn't say? Maybe you know more than I do. Like I said previously, it's so hard for me to get any info. I'm using this Tor browser because not everything is available in the UK, which is strange. I don't know why. Robert is saying, did I hear one of the boys was maybe autistic or had learning difficulties? You know, I've heard something similar as well. The thing with this is that if one of them was a special needs boy, he would, uh, Jacqueline and Trezell, they would have gotten a lot more money for him from for adopting. So basically, the base rate would be around $1,000 for one child for adopting. And if that child has special needs, then they would get $3,000 more per month. So in total, it would be around $4,000 per month per child. That's how much they would get. And let's say even if you think about the base rate of $1,000 for four children in total, they would get $4,000 per month. So in my eyes, this is a very good business for those people who are adopting and fostering only for the financial side of it, which sadly is happening. Yeah, Marcial, yes, if they have disability, yes. You know what I'm very frustrated about? I'm really frustrated about the lack of information we have on these boys, on Orrin and Orson West. And in particular, I'm thinking about what, like any other parent would know. Yeah, like what were their favorite toys to play with? What was their favorite show to watch? Did they go to nursery or kindergarten, as other people know? What were their favorite places to go and visit? No one is talking about this. No one knows anything about this. They were children. They are children. I'm hoping that they are still with us. But no, I don't see this information nowhere. Like, what was their favorite cartoon to watch? Did they like Transformers? Did they like cars? Did they like fire engines? Things like that. Did they like drawing, coloring, crafts? GS is saying, okay, I have a question and interested in others' opinions. Okay, go ahead. GS is saying, what could be the possible reason that police have not released recent photos? Okay, I don't think that they don't have recent photos. They must have recent photos. I'm thinking that it might be, you mean recent photos of Orrin and Orson or of the other children? If really they don't have any recent ones, that's another question mark and another suspicion as to why these children have been adopted by their adoptive parents. Because usually when you have kids when they are small, you always take photos of them, to have a memory, like they tripped and fell and hit their nose, and oh, it was so funny. You take a photo because you want to remember it. Any parent has photos with their children when they are small, especially when they are small, because they are growing up so quick, so you just want to keep those memories. So if they don't have any recent photos, they didn't take those recent photos, which means they are not very interested in those kids. But if police took all tag, they would have more recent than the photos we have. But what if they didn't take any more recent photos of the boys? Maybe the adoptive parents, don't haven't taken any recent photos of the boys. Maybe they only have those old ones. One of them even it took them 5 hours to release. So it's very suspicious. Sorry, suspicion. Oh my god, it's late, guys. Sorry, it's like 1:30 in the morning here. There are a few photos online overall of Orrin and Orson from when they were very little and they were still with the biological mom, and the rest are from when they were with Trezell and Jaqueline. But most of them are old. Yes, they're quite old. There are a few photos of them with the adoptive grandfather, and I've seen another photo of them with Trezell and Jaqueline West with the other four children, but the other four children, they are blurred out, so their identity is protected. But it wasn't as much of an age difference in those photos than the ones that we are seeing everywhere. Yeah, Robert is saying all photos must mean the kids were gone a long time ago. That, yes, like we said, that it's very well a possibility that they are gone before they moved to Cal City. That's what I think as well, that they were gone when they used to live in Bakersfield. That's when they were gone. And I think that the reason why they moved from Bakersfield to Cal City was to lose the trail. Most of the photos I'm seeing online are of, I'll try to see if I can show you from my phone. Let's see. I found a few earlier today, but they are not recent, those either. I feel they never been new home. No, I don't think they have been in the new home either. No, let's see. Yes, indeed, it is very sad. It is very sad. I'm trying to find some photos which I found earlier today. So basically, this is the one with the grandfather, the adoptive grandfather. I'm hoping you can see something there. So as you can see, it's not such a big difference. That's one of them. And then we've got the other photo with the grandmother, grandfather, the uncle, the two boys, Trezell, Jaqueline, and also the other four children, but their photos are blurred out, so probably to protect their identity. But honestly, seriously, that's basically everything I could find. So you can't even see properly, can you? Oh, let's see. That's all. Yeah, so these are all the photos that they are. Yeah. There's nothing else really, nothing. And I'm even using a browser which is like the Tor browser. Yes, I agree. I know those pics. Thank you. Yeah. That this is everything, everything. And there were just a couple more with the bio mom when they were still in her care. And that's all there is. And if the police have more photos, then I don't understand either why they are not releasing them. In a way, it makes me think that somehow they might not have any more. There's another one which I found when one of them was little. This is taken from Facebook. Yeah, he was little here. So, Robert is saying my initial thought was that the police didn't look hard enough to investigate more from the get-go. Then, when the case blew up, they worked harder. They worked harder because there was already media pressure. So, so they had because they have to show something that they are working for something. I think that they were prepared to make it go away really, but when they've seen how much media coverage this case is getting, then they realize that they do have to work on it. Maciel is saying yes, he was small, beautiful babies. Yes. I don't know. I still don't understand why some people can do things like that. It's just beyond me. Yeah. Even if it was a trafficking ring, let's say, and even if, let's say, for example, there was someone in the police was connected to Orrin and Orson going missing, they were not, they didn't expect this publicity. So, yeah. Although it's very hard to believe that they don't know anything, they don't have any information. The police, I mean. I still think that they do have information, but they are choosing not to release it. So how long do you think it's going to take before we are actually updated by the police with anything, really? I was trying to see on my phone if I have any new info. That's why I was looking down. GS is saying, "Oh God, this looks like a scary movie. That area looks terrifying and unforgiving. Mine shafts and dirt." Yeah, yes, it's very true. 1 month, Robert. Do you think it will be 1 month before they give us any updates? So honestly, guys, what do you think? Do you think that Orrin and Orson West will ever be found? And if the parents did something to them, Trezell and Jaqueline, do you think that they will be held responsible? Or do you think that they were part of something else? Yeah. To me, this looks very similar to Chad Daybell and Lori Vallow. In terms of, look, for example, Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell, we all know that they had something to do with the kids being murdered, but no one can actually trial them for that because there is no evidence against them because they didn't physically do something with the kids. So I think that this could be the case here as well. Jess is saying, "I think everyone involved is lying. What they are lying about, I'm not clear yet." That's I completely agree with you. Yes, and with what we have, it's very very hard to get to a conclusion and to decide on exactly what happened. But I also think that yes, everyone is involved. Everyone involved is lying. Yeah. Hard to say. So many children go missing every year. They say hundreds of thousands or millions worldwide. Yeah, that's true as well. Yes. Marcel is saying, "I pray they do find them, but maybe not soon. I do believe they did something with the babies." Yes, I'm not sure that they will find them, to be honest. It would be very good for them to be found because then their family, the biological family, they can get some sort of closure. We can get as well some sort of closure. Although I would hate to believe that this will be the case, I'm still trying to remain hopeful that they are alive somewhere. I guess we are already trying the same thing, but what will be the odds? What I don't know what are the odds that they are even in the country. Jess is saying, "I hope they are with someone who loves them and is taking care of them." Yeah, I would rather think about that as well than the worst thing. We should pray for them to be safe. Keep our hopes up. Okay, so I think that I have covered everything that I set out to in the video. If you guys have any questions for now, and then we can, I'll wait a couple of minutes to see if you have any question, and then we can end the live if there is nothing else from you guys. GS, thank you so much. GS is saying thanks for letting me be a wine bag in chat. You're very welcome anytime. Thank you so much for the donation again, GS. You know, I still didn't figure out how to put it on the screen, so I'm still working on it, for God's sake. It takes me forever to learn something new. Oh. I think that my husband will be joining us now for the last few minutes, I think. GS, don't leave just yet. If you want to see my husband, he's back home. I was about to close this live, you know?
Really?
Yeah, because I thought you're not coming back.
Yeah, because he's
Because I
not
already
really
covered
sleeping
everything.
properly, you know?
I haven't covered everything, and GS gave me a donation again. So thank
Oh,
you so much again, GS.
hi there. Hi, Jess. Thank you very much. Um, so what was,
I already covered everything.
did you?
Yeah, I did,
Mm,
yes. You've been gone for too long.
right. Did you say something about the the chief of police, John Walker,
About him, what?
that he said there will be, you know, they kind of put in place